My pleasure now to introduce Chris Boney. I've had the pleasure of working closely with Chris in several capacities. He's a member of the Cape Fear Future leadership team and head of the Quality of Life Committee of Cape Fear Future. And when he has spare time, he builds little buildings down the street. One's called the Convention Center. And, oh yes, I believe there's a little cluster that's called Cape Fear Future, the Cape Fear Community College. So, Chris, thank you so much for being with us. Give us your perspective on the Arts Council.
Thank you.
A couple of chairs still open, folks. Come on up.
Front row seat. Thank you for asking me to come, and I really appreciate being here. I appreciate Bill asking me. I'm excited to see so many people here interested in the arts. We all know the arts is critical to the success of our region. I think everyone that is here knows that at the very core of their being. The thing that strikes me the most is the statistics that have been thrown around is of the 10 largest cities, Wilmington is the only one without an arts council. We are being left behind. We're at a competitive disadvantage trying to compete with other cities. We're trying to get the very same knowledge workers and creative class workers that we're trying to draw into the Cape Fear region. And it's baffling to me how we got in this situation, and of course this pageant can give us a lot of insight on how we got to where we are. I tend to tie back the issue about the arts a little bit back to the sustainability issue. For me, it's a personal thing. When I got to the University of Virginia in the mid-90s, Bill McDonough was the new dean there. Some of you may have heard him on the Green Dean. And he's probably the most famous sustainable architect practicing in the world today. And he was much admired. And he walked into our first seminar into a packed hall, and he was wearing a Armani suit and looked anything but the green, sustainable, tree hugger that people thought that he might be. And he proceeded to give a speech that was all about business. And he said, what you all have to understand is none of this is about sustainability. You all think it's about sustainability. It's about one thing, and that's money. It's about dollars. And until you can convince the people that are polluting the earth that they can make more money by saving it, none of us will succeed. The arts is a little bit different, but I think that it's very much the same core concept. The arts is about money. It's about more than the sum of all of us in this room that enjoy the arts and want to do things. It's about the economic development of the area. It's about the vitality and the future vitality of our business and economic interests. Cape Fear Future is, most of you know about it, it's a process that's been born out of the Chamber of Commerce over several years. And I'm on the leadership team there, and I head up the Quality of Life Task Force that's a part of that. And we've really looked at a couple of issues in terms of quality of life. How do we reinvigorate downtown in terms of the 3 C's, cultural amenity, crime, cleanliness, a lot of efforts that are going on there. And then also just how do we increase our tourism options and cultural amenities in the area. And then thirdly, how do we increase our focus on the arts? How do we help the arts to succeed? And fundamental to this is the formation of an arts council. Very early on, we've all recognized that before anything else can be done with regard to the arts in Wilmington and attracting things like the Spilletta Festival or the other things that other cities we compete with, we must have an arts council in this area. Another statistic that stood out to us very early in looking at this is that Wilmington currently ranks 8th in tourism expenditures in North Carolina. How do we leverage that and improve on that? That was shocking to me. I would have thought that Wilmington would have been certainly the top 3 or 4. Asheville is up there. Charlotte, of course, is a bigger place. Raleigh's a bigger place. But we're behind Dare County. We're behind places like Asheville, maybe is a comparable city, but even Fayetteville and Cumberland County and other places have higher tourism expenditure dollars associated with them, which was shocking to me. You would think with our territorial assets that we could do a lot better than that. Which brings me to the fundamental beginning of the Cape Fear Future movement. Richard Florida, and many of you heard speak recently, and many of you have read his book, The Rise of the Creative Class. It's about rethinking how we do our businesses today, and rethinking where our nation's economy is going to be going, where the jobs of the future are going to be. If you look at a pie chart of manufacturing versus creative class jobs, they're directly inverted. Manufacturing in this area or in this nation is a dying business form. The jobs are declining every year, and they don't show any sign of coming back. The creative industry, however, is on a steady rise. We look at the beginning of the 20th century, and about 5 to 10% of the nation's workforce would be considered creative or knowledge-based sector jobs. These would be professional jobs and artistic jobs. If you look at the middle part of the century, and that was up to 35 to 40% as manufacturing and agricultural jobs beginning to decline. And you look at the end of the century, and the creative and knowledge class sector jobs account for over 45% of the jobs in the country. So clearly it's on the rise. When you look at the cultural and the knowledge sector job areas, the unemployment rate for those has been steadily around 5%. Historically, when construction industry, for example, jobs are unemployment is over 20% or 25%, depends on which metrics you want to use. So these are jobs that are stable, and the arts is a key to it. As part of their original report, Catalytics, which is a group that was originally founded by Richard Florida, did a cookbook, as they call it, for our region. And they went through and looked at performance indicators in several different key factors to see how we measured up with other cities across the country, places that we want to compare ourselves to that are attracting knowledge workers, like Austin, Texas, like Raleigh, like San Luis Obispo, California, Colorado Springs, Colorado, to see how we stacked up to these other areas. And we did okay. We came out probably in the middle or just below the middle of the pack. But they divide up their report in several areas like entrepreneurship, education, territorial assets, and then racial diversity and tolerance. And one of the key areas for us tonight is the territorial assets piece. And if you look at the performance indicators, arts workers per 1,000, number of arts workers, number of arts establishments, establishments per 1,000 people, etc. We rank in the lowest tier in each one of those statistical categories compared with our peer cities. And that's something we really got to change. Read down the list, and out of the 26 or 27 cities, we're 22nd, 23rd, 24th in terms of benchmarking in each one of those categories. So clearly this is an area that we have a great deal of work to do within, and clearly the Arts Council is the first step in reversing that trend and making it success. I'll end there.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.